Hello, everybody. This is John Paval with an Access Arts Live special edition late night because tomorrow, December 21st, we have a live stream of a full-length opera, and I want to be able to give you the good word about it somewhat in advance so that you know it's coming. Sunday, December 21st, Opera Streaming returns with a live stream of Giuseppe Verdi's Stiffelio, a co-production of three Italian opera houses in Piacenza, Modena, and Reggio Emilia, with conductor Leonardo Sini, director Pierluigi Pizzi, and performances by the international cast of Gregory Kunde, Lidia Fridman, Vladimir Stoyanov, Carlo Raffaelli, Adriano Gramigni, Paolo Nevi, and Carlotta Vichi. And as our written notice accompanying this live stream says, I have more. I say it's returning because because opera streaming, it's a collective of about a half a dozen Italian opera houses. They've been silent for some months now, and so we're happy to have them back with sort of the beginning of the season for some of these opera houses, and with this particular co-production of three Italian opera houses. But it's not an Italian cast at all; it's an international cast. The director, Pierluigi Pizzi, is quite a guy. He's been around a long time. He's highly esteemed, and he's called a genius by none other than the man who's performing in the leading role of Stiffelio, and I'll get to that in a minute. Skål. I'm here in Stockholm. It's about 12:30 in the morning here. It makes it 6:30 in New York, 3:30 in the afternoon in LA. So I thought I'd try to reach all of you folks there on the East and West Coast, because if you want to hear this, you have to get up a little early in the morning, because this will be at 3:30 in the afternoon European time, 9:30 in the morning on the East Coast, 6:30 in the morning on the West Coast, and late night, Sunday night, 1:30 a.m. down under in Australia, but not quite so late, more like 11:30, I think, if you're in Perth or on the West Coast of Australia. But anyway, I'll tell you a little bit about this opera. It was composed by Giuseppe Verdi without tremendous success a few months before Rigoletto, which he had a lot more success with. And the problem with it is, it was the same problem that Hjalmar Söderberg had 50 years later, because this was like in 1850. 50 years later, in 1905, Hjalmar Söderberg published his Dr. Glass, which I personally adapted for the stage and performed for 3 years in France with great success at the Avignon Theatre Festival. Anyway, he takes on the church. This is and so the censors didn't like it, and they made him change the location. He changed the name of the opera eventually, and then he finally gave up. Okay, and in the 1960s, people rediscovered the original opera, and of course in the mentality of the 60s, an opera which gave a less than glorious picture of a priest. Well, they'd go for that, so they did. So, Stiffelio, the main character. I'm going to do this the way I like to do operas. I introduce a character to you, and then I tell you who's playing. Stiffelio is a highly popular preacher, and he's played by the American tenor Gregory Kunde, who's had a 40-year career on the boards in all the greatest theaters in the world. He's over 70 years old now. So and he's a top guy. Recent things he's done in past years: Il Trovatore and Aida at the Los Angeles Opera, Turandot at the Teatro Real in Madrid, at the Arena de Verona, at the Opera in Paris, Otello at the Liceu in Barcelona, at the Staatsoper in Vienna, etc. Billy Budd with the Vienna State Opera, André Chenier at the Deutsche Oper in Berlin. He's old, but he's still active and punching away. And what he had to say about this on his this production on his Instagram account was this, quote, "Another amazing journey ahead as I take on another debut. with Verdi's STIFFELIO in December 2025. I could not be more pleased or more excited to work again with the genius Pierluigi Pizzi in Piacenza, Modena, and Reggio Emilia. So there you have it. The top guy here is happy with the director that he's working with, and that's always a good sign. Now, STIFFELIO, he's a preacher. I'm sorry if I may have mistakenly called him a priest. He's a preacher. He has a beautiful wife, and her name is Lena. Now, Lena is played by Lidia Fridman. Okay. Now, Lidia Fridman was Opera Wire's Opera Star of the Week this past March when she was appearing and leading in the leading role in Donizetti's Anna Bolena at the Teatro La Fenice in Venice, which is where she had her debut about 5-6 years ago, 2019, in the title role of the first modern performance of Albinoni's La Statira, for those of you who are real opera aficionados. And here's what Opera Wire says about her. Over the years, the rising star soprano has made a name for herself in the bel canto repertoire since her breakout at the Donizetti Opera Festival singing L'Ange de Nisida. That was also in 2019. That's me. Since then, she has world premiered Donizetti's Dalinda and made role debuts as Lucrezia Borgia and Norma. She has also specialized in early Verdi works as Nabucco, the Scottish play, and I Lombardi alla prima crociata, among others. And the title role of Norma she did at La Monnaie in Brussels, so that's top of the line. And she's done a Tatiana debut in Eugene Onegin at the Staatstheater in Hanover. So what the critics say about her is, quote, she has a line with a characteristic dark color and a luxuriant emission, and a confident and well-projected high register. Okay, so you've got two top people in the two top roles. Now there are two other characters, and why is this important? Well, because this is a story about, well, what happens if an esteemed and very righteous priest finds out that his wife has not been faithful to him. And I'm not going to tell you because I'll ruin the story for you, or if you already know the story, you don't need me to tell it to you. So there are two other characters who are important here. One is Lena's father, that makes him officially STIFFELIO's father-in-law, the Count Stankar. And he's played by Vladimir Stoyanov. Vladimir Stoyanov, he's been an independent soloist since 1999, performed at all the top opera houses. His typical roles are Rigoletto, Iago in Othello, Giorgio in La Traviata. He played that everywhere. Don Carlo in La Forza del Destino. He played that in Paris, in Israel, at Lisieux. And Enrico in Lucia di Lammermoor. So he's not on STIFFELIO's side at all. And then the other sort of main character is STIFFELIO's friend Raffaelli. And Raffaelli is the one with whom Lena has become too friendly, let us say. And that's played by Carlo Raffaelli. He's a young guy. You can see his photo there over on the right-hand side. And if you're looking for somebody who looks like a handsome young man who could cause trouble, well, Carlo Raffaelli, just from the looks of him, he fits the part. He's young. He was just became part of the Young Singers program in Modena in 2021. Made his debut in 2022 at the Summer Festival in Spoleto in the role of Don Jose in Carmen. And also that summer, he debuted in the role of Alfredo in La Traviata at the Teatro Costa Bianca in Realmonte, Sicily. The other performers I've mentioned to you, but generally in this format, I only give you the top four that I can tell you about. Looks to me like it could be a good time if you're a lover of opera, or if you're curious about what kind of an opera did Verdi first compose that got him into trouble with the official censors, and which sort of put him up against the church. And one thing I learned when I was working on Dr. Glass and all of that is that the church in those days, in 1850, was a lot different from the church of our time. I mean, the church can do or say what it wants in our day and age, and it doesn't matter. But in those days, it did matter. And it mattered a lot because they were a part of the power structure. So if you took on the church, well, you were really going to have trouble. And Verdi did, so he dropped it and moved on to other things where he wouldn't have that kind of trouble. Folks, I hope you enjoy it. If you do tune in and enjoy it, do yourself do us a favor and let us know. Leave a comment in the comment section on this if you liked it, if you didn't like it. We would love to have more interaction with all of you as we roll along merrily. And before I leave you, let me remind you, especially in this holiday season, do yourself a favor, and for a gift-giving idea, you could, if you have friends that you haven't gotten to yet or whom you're not going to be buying something for, you can digitally invite them to follow and or subscribe to Access Arts Live, and thereby gain access to thousands of hours free of charge of orchestras, chamber music, recitals, operas, and ballets all year long. We give you more than 1,000 live links to live performances every year, free of charge. Now, 10 to 15% of those, the content creators charge you for it. But this one, this is a full-length opera free of charge, which is not likely to come to your town very soon. And we also we've covered, there's a whole wave of young women conductors that we've covered. And if you've been following us, you would have seen them all. From Gemma New out there in New Zealand, running the New Zealand Symphony, to Joanna Malwitz, who's at in Berlin, to Tabitha Berglund, who's in Detroit and in Dresden, and more, at least a half a dozen more. And the other top conductors and top orchestras in the US and in Europe and in Moscow and St. Petersburg. And we cover the waterfront. We don't get into politics. Whatever is going on out there, we let you know about it, and we get you the live links. So we're on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, and LinkedIn, because we want to be wherever you are. So wherever you hang out, just slide over to Access Arts Live and see what we're doing, and subscribe or follow us. All right, with that, I'll say ciao for now. Enjoy this opera tomorrow, Sunday, December.